Welcome, everyone, to Simulation Talk 202. Here we go. What if I just do this for like an hour? How are you guys doing? Hello, Soil Sample. How are you, Bradley? Good to see you, brother. Owl is in the house. I really like Owl. It's a very cool nickname. What do we have here? Well, that's an interesting point that Owl you made to me on Discord. I would share if you don't mind. Talking about advertisement. And I said to Bradley, there's nothing really. What's up, Lilu? Good to see you. Smash that like button indeed. What's up, William? And I said, all these advertisement schemes, there's nothing new under the sun. I mean, it goes all the way to Bernays and way before that, even Edward Bernays. And yeah, I mean, there's all these like ploys and techniques to influence a lot of people. And then what you said in the last text I just saw, you're saying that you're surprised that they spend bajillions of dollars on advertising, basically, and when they could just stick to what works. And you said they would be fine. They would not make nearly as much revenue, I assure you. That's the simple case is that you and I and certain people that kind of tune these things out, or things they tune these things out, might be, immune to commercials to some degree. But the truth is that en masse, it absolutely works, and the revenue is so much greater that there's not even a comparison. We're talking about 100x easy. And I've discovered this by just trying things in my life, where you can have something that might even be decent or good. It will go almost nowhere unless people know about it. There's like it's rare that you have this case like, kind of like Tesla, where they didn't need to advertise in the beginning and then it just was successful. But I think there was an advertisement there. It was more like word to mouth advertisement, but it was still advertisement. What's up, Ebony? What's up, Chris? How are you? My Brighton. Is the Simulation Talk podcast about the government and underground societies controlling us, or that our universe is a simulation? Great question. That our universe is a simulation. And my name is Danny, and I'm claiming that I found proof that we live in a simulation. And I've been vocal about this for a few years now. And that's what we're doing here. We meet here on a semi-daily basis to discuss all kinds of topics. Mostly we usually dive into religion, science, philosophy, religion, spirituality, God. Recently we had a couple of political conversations just because it was a big topic, but usually we don't dive into these topics. It's more around philosophy, science, and things like this. Man, I just ate chocolate and it leaves you this weird cotton mouth. What's up, Nico? Saying word to mouth is the best form of advertising. Not sure that advertisers would agree with you, but I would agree with you that that's the coolest one for sure. What's up, Sofa King? Good to see you, my brother. I'm glad to hear that, Chris. Okay, the family is in place. We can now commence. Why is whoa. Sometimes these links are just weird. What's up, Leslie? Lilu is saying, how do you think the simulation manifests to a point that most everyone feels like is real and solid? Well, the proposition in the simulation is that it's not that it's fake, but that, that it is computationally rendered. because in our world we believe computers are something we made, so everything we made inside of computers is by definition a replica of the what we call the real thing. So it seems to us that everything will be computationally rendered would be fake or a representation of. But if you postulate that the main world is computational at large, which is what is being proposed, then simulation just means a slice of reality. It does not mean fake or a copy of. I mean, it might be a copy of, but it does not mean fake. Everywhere that there is some kind of an experiencer, there is the reality of experience, and therefore that is reality. So it's not so much as how do you make it real. Really, the deepest question is how do you make it anything? How do you make it conscious? Which is really the central question, of course. What's up, Frankie Tuna? Good to see you, Jackie. Glad that you're here and listening. I've brought you at least 100 subscribers from word to mouth alone, and I deeply appreciate that. But if we're comparing it to advertisement that you can, buy to actually get you attention online, of course, it doesn't compare. Unfortunately, it doesn't compare. I would much rather people tell other people because it's a much more of a unifying force. What's up, LF? Great to be able to catch you live with you for the first time. 1:30 a.m. It would be amazing to have any times that are friendly to those of us living further east, Europe, Asia, Africa. Thanks. So you mean earlier? Yeah, I was thinking about doing some of them in the mornings, which I guess will be easier for people in Europe. Where are you located, LF? I'm going to be heading out on the road here in a minute for a 5-hour road trip back home. I will be lurking, listening, and taking mental notes. Beautiful. Thank you. What's up, April? Good to see you. Honeycut is a great. Is that your last name? This is great. Render is saying, I will assume that you believe in God. I do too. But do you think that one God person could have created all of this atoms, electrons, planets, stars, galaxies? Or do you think there are multiple gods? We spoke about this on the channel. Welcome to the channel. Always welcome new people, and we're very happy to have you. There's a there's a there's a few talks that I gave on the subject because I was kind of exposed to this information. To make it super clear, I am not claiming that I think that because I was shown this, it means that necessarily this is the ultimate picture of reality. Of course, that would be absurd. But for all intents and purposes, with the same realism that everything else led me to where I am today, it was shown to me that there are absolutely multiple gods. There are a very large number of them. There is a unifying upper thing, but it is a woman, and I won't get into this today because for me it's a very taxing subject. I would love to dive into it again at some point, and there was quite a few requests on this. Um, Quite a few people asked me to make a video about this. Maybe I will make one. I just need to get inspired to do something that will be more than just me telling people the story. Is Eddie a full simulation guy now? I don't know. We'll find out on Wednesday. I'm gonna go on the Eddie Bravo podcast on Wednesday, and we're gonna talk about space is fake. Obviously, what's up, Daisy? Love your picture, Richard Wasick, Little Wesley, DP. How are you? What's up, Just Jen? Good to see you. Nicole is in the house. Okay. Absolutely, LF. London. Love London. What's up, JH? It's your last name from your dad. That's amazing. Honeycut is great. April Honeycut. Wait. William Snook. You didn't what? What's up, Maverick Star? All right. It is taxing. It can be lonely because the road ends in solipsism. No, I don't think the road can possibly end in solipsism. Um, Solipsism implies that you, as you are now, is the only thing that exists, not that a universal agent exists. The idea that there's only one universal agent is idealism. Solipsism literally is the belief that you are, for what you are today, is the only actual conscious agent, and everything else is a content of your imagination. But it is with an emphasis that what you are now, and that I think is just doesn't run through, no matter what you do. So, yes, there is this lonely component in the core of reality, I would say, but only when looked at through a particular perspective. And I think maybe, which would make perfect sense to me, and I believe to you as well, from what you're saying right now, that maybe this is essentially God trying to reconcile. Hold on. German Moreno, how you doing? Hello from Pasadena. Awesome. Pasadena is my favorite place on earth. So you get a special batch of respect on this channel. We're in Pasadena. And yes, please join our Discord. By the way, if you are on any other channel, please come join our Discord. Go to Dango Thoughts on YouTube. And the third link from the top is my Discord channel, our Discord channel for Code of Reality. So come join us. We have an incredible community there, amazing mods. What's up, JH? Good to see you. Miket is saying, congrats on soon come Joe Rogan. I believe it's only a matter of time now. I would agree with that. Maverick starts, sorry, join late. What were you talking about? That something is quite taxing, and some ask a video on it. I missed the former. Oh, just talking about the different gods, and maybe me creating a video about that. But I don't want to just kind of tell you a story and then showing you all the stuff. I can probably create a fine. At this point, there's enough people on board. We can probably create a fun graphics for it and everything. It's just that I feel like if I'm just telling you that, it's just, again, a trip report. And I feel like trip reports are empty unless they come with some kind of a deeper life lesson or some application for everybody that everybody can partake. So the second I figure that part out, maybe we'll have a video about that. Hello from Arkansas. How are you? Reconciliation is a theme. Soil sample is saying, I agree. I used to say if we are personification of God's inner turmoil, I feel bad for the dude. You know, you nailed it on the head. Because I always say, after I've had this experience of the loneliness of God, so to speak, I started saying we always ask for God's compassion, and we never ask, do we have compassion for God? Because the grace of God is that you get to go to sleep and you get to die. So you basically nailed it there for me. Do you think that those CIA remote viewing things is real, that we possess mental powers and that the government hides, suppress it? One famous example is when most people can predict who is calling them. These are great questions, Rinder. We'll take them by order. First of all, the remote viewing thing, at this point, I am absolutely convinced is real. The CIA was never the Gateway project that everybody are talking about, the declassified documents. They were never. Hold on, let me. The Gateway method is essentially the Monroe Institute's method. It was never a secret, so that was not classified. What was classified is CIA's attempt to use it for things. And I think it makes sense because the government wouldn't necessarily want to admit that it's trying to do psychic stuff. You know, that's what was classified. I absolutely accept at this point that it must be real because I've seen certain things in action. I personally can't do it, but I have seen enough to say with confidence that I think that's a real thing. We just have it will still have some kind of an explanation, but I do believe it is absolutely correct. And yes, to your example, when people know when somebody's calling them, synchronicities, I think there's a binding tapestry. There's some kind of a substrate that is operating behind everything, and I do think that that's a real thing. Great questions. My Brighton saying Eddie Bravo interview will be excellent. Can't wait for that. Me neither. Eddie's a lot of fun. Perhaps sharing our trip reports from the community as a fun episode. With you going first to start it off. Oh, you mean people sharing trip reports? Yeah, if people want to do it, by all means. For me, these are, well, you know my opinion on them. They're kind of like, I think the truth about trip reports is that people love sharing them. I don't know to what extent people really like engage with them unless somehow they're implied in them, you know? But if the community wants this, of course, whatever the community wants on Discord, we should absolutely do it. The Discord is for the community. Has YouTube provided you an option to top video via AI? I wanted to show my mom a video on the Ascension. Oh man! Well, first of all, that's really nice to hear. Isn't it possible automatically to create a translation? Personally, think that we live in a holographic mathematical light frequency vibration simulated world. What are your thoughts? I would agree with that. Yes, basically all the words you said sound correct to me. It is a hologram or holographic in nature. Obviously follows the mathematical logic, obviously related and or made out of light, and it is expressing itself in the frequency of vibration, and it is a simulated world. So basically, I would say you nailed it. Oh. CIA located down spy plane within a kilometer in Africa with remote viewing. I've heard of this. I've never actually read the files, but I've heard of this. I did already, but it's something when you hear in sync with video. Yes. Just like watching me speaking Italian on that podcast was wild. They translated me with AI. That was wild. Ethereal lattice? I'm not sure that I'm fully following you there. What do you mean by that, if you can clarify? What do you mean by ethereal in this context? You're going to challenge Eddie on the moon landing, Dan? Challenging him on the Shroud Touring 2. Want to see the debate? Oh, no, I'm definitely not going to be debating Eddie because it's a fool's errand, my friend. I've already spent 2 hours talking to him about space is fake. I know I know my limitations, and I do not have enough energy for that. So hopefully we're gonna have a conversation along slightly different lines, but we'll see how it evolves. You gonna challenge? This going in the laser thing has me very inspired. I'm eager to confirm it for myself. Thank you for sharing, soil sample. RV practice within a group setting, given a random target number, following protocol of Joseph um, McMonigal. I don't know how to pronounce this. Writing and drawing what came to me and getting successes with my findings. Yeah, Ebony, it sounds like you're pretty talented with this kind of stuff. So I would say just keep pressing on, and it sounds like you are. And I would love to see results with you and what we can develop with the laser. Somebody joined by the name of Love My Things. What's up, Love My Things? What's up, Gio? Julia? Let's see if we have any questions from TikTok. Thank you for the likes, by the way. Appreciate you. The dogs are going apeshit. I say there's no real questions on TikTok, so I'll just proceed on YouTube for now. I love the question. Somebody asked if I'm Jesus, which does happen sometimes, but then somebody asks, "Are you God?" That isn't what a what an interesting question. Watch the other person talk about multiple gods and separate universes as well. Who is that other person? I thought I was the only person in the world talking about that. Jokes. What's up, Jenkins? Jenks. Jenks. The topic is simulation. What's up from? How are you from New Jersey? Love my things. A lot of fun people from New Jersey recently, so good signs. Val just spoke about New Jersey, see? The documented use of. Wait. Yeah, the documented use of remote viewing by the CIA in order to conduct espionage and the information being confirmed was all the proof I needed. The code writers are scrambling to write code to hide the code from the Dienstrost. No, they know. They know we know. I already posted the summary for the beginning of Infinity for new members joining Discord. Wow, thank you, Maverick Star. Any other books that we should have on Discord? Wait, you read the book and you summarize it for people? Is that what just happened? I mean, that's crazy, and I can't wait to read what you wrote. Chase U's reactions open up so many people for this. Yeah, I would agree. He did a great service. Have I solved reality yet? No, not yet. Almost there. I wonder what the code looks like at this moment right now. Lots of zeros, I bet. No, there's no ones and zeros there. Well, maybe there are, but it's mostly embedded in Japanese and what seems to be Hebrew. Again, they're not exactly that, but Val is in the house with her zingers. Also, if we have remote viewing as one of our superpowers, what other abilities do we have? So far, I only know the phone call one and remote viewing. That's okay. What's your superpower? I know right before people are about to call. Usually, it's my mom. Um, right before my mom calls, I know, man. Power of it saying I'm dying to astral project under the pyramids to see what's up. I mean, that would be insane. When Chase Hughes describes what he sees in the laser, it sounds like an ethereal lattice of code to me. That's all. I see. I just don't know what you mean by ethereal, I guess, in this context. What's up, Ottawa, Canada? Good to have you, Martin. Chris is saying yes and no to your question, Render. A really good remote viewing viewer can like top 1%, but it's mostly places and areas. People are much harder to do as they are constantly in motion and moving. Interesting. And Chris would know. Yeah, that's a good description. It's Hebrew Japanese, only not. It resembles. These are the things that resemble the most. Thank you, soil. Thank you, soil. Soil sample. Talking about superheroes, what's your favorite superhero from The Boys? Ooh, you know, uh, I think Wolverine. Wolverine is probably my favorite. Lilu is also in New York. New York is also one of my favorite cities. Honestly, Pasadena and Manhattan probably take the cake. Takes the cake. Now Franklin as well. You gotta eat the lettuce. Haha. Is there one definitive symbol you all can agree on that I agreed to exist in the code by multiple people and can uh, be scribed afterwards, or is that abstract? So there is. We actually spoke about it just today with the team. There are some things on Discord. If you join Discord, there's some representations there. I'm on record being somewhat resistant to these depictions because I feel like they might throw people off. Ultimately, they're not exactly what we're seeing, and yes, some people do agree on some particular symbols, but again, I wouldn't put too much stock in that. It's like even if multiple individuals agree on a symbol or two, it doesn't really give you much because it's like in the context of operation, what the symbols are determined by the functionality they serve within the larger structure, not the shape of those symbols. So again, that's kind of like where I stand on this. That the shape of the symbols, it doesn't hold that much water. Like it doesn't matter, at least at this point of the game. But it seems like everybody else thinks it does mean something. So I'm gonna let everything play, and if somebody proves me wrong, I'll be the first one to congratulate them. So can one more than one person observe the same characters in the code? We can all agree on the general uh, what it appears to be, even though we can't know exactly what the other person is saying. From the description of other people, you can definitely tell that we're looking at the same thing. What do you mean in The Boys? Oh, you mean, I thought you mean just from the all the superhero men. That's what I thought you mean. It's not even in The Boys. What is in The Boys? I don't even know what that is. Like even if an unknown language is shown to several people, they should be able to over time to identify some of the symbols, letters. We don't even know if it's language. That's the problem. We don't know if it's language. We don't even know if it's code. We don't even know what it is. We just know it's a real structure of some sort that has some kind of a tapestry and some kind of a topology that is very coherent and present and has its own reality. But we don't know what it is. That's the problem. When you're looking at a language, even if you don't know it, you still know it's a language. And that gives you a lot of information. What's up, the Divine Saucer? Enjoy the food, Al. Yeah, Maverick Star. I've watched a few videos on some, experts' opinions about the pyramid stuff. The question was, is there something new about the pyramids? It seems to be more, to me at the moment, it seems to be extremely unsubstantiated, and there's a lot of wonky data there. Like, why do they have, like, I don't know. Well, I said it from the beginning, but like these blurry images, I don't know if they tell me that there is this staircase there, and just because you said that AI told you this, I mean, there's so many steps here that can be off, right? And I did hear Dibble saying, who's an archaeologist, that they know pretty well what is under the pyramids. So now, does that mean that they can't discover anything new? No, of course not. But if I look at the image that they presented, what they say is the raw data, which is, by the way, cannot be raw data because it's not presented from the top, but from the side. There's too many steps there in which mistakes can happen. And the fact that they did not peer review this yet, which means they didn't let other experts look at it, I can't say anything until I watch other experts comment on this. Because if I'm looking at what they presented without their illustration, it looks nothing like that to me. Even if I'm really trying to see the columns there, I don't know how they deducted those columns there. JH is saying the phenomena of the code is more interesting than the symbols characters to me personally. Yes, to me too. I do not understand the interest in the symbols. It is not to say that it shouldn't be there, because obviously almost everybody, aside from me and JH, I think, are interested in the symbols. I truly don't understand what's the interest there. It's like, yeah, I mean, if eventually you would want to try and decode it when you already understand what the code is doing, what it is, what is happening, but just kind of trying to mimic the digits, I truly don't understand why that's interesting. Again, fully aware that basically everybody else in the world are really interested in that. I just truly don't get it. As long as your cat is happy, Ebony. Val is saying, but they won't. What is this referring to? Hold on, let me see. I know this is a controversial question. What is the most accurate religion? And also, why do all religions treat God as human form? Why isn't God viewed as outside our plane of existence? Well, the second part of the question is obvious. Humans will always describe things in terms of themselves, right? By the way, I forgot to add my website, codeofreality.com. If you want to find out more about what we're doing, I'm going to place it right here. Saying hello to some people on TikTok. How are you guys? Good to have you. Not too many questions from TikTok, so that's good. Didn't miss too much. Oh yeah, I always forget to add the thing. It's doing a text because I'm just typing it in. Here, I'll put it right now. It's because it's easier to read. But there you go. Now it's gonna be the full thing. But the first question, part of your question, Render, as to what is the most correct religion. From what I've been shown so far, if I have to just say here, this is the one that is literally the closest to describing the relevant thing to us in history and what we should be paying attention to, is, drum roll, but not surprising, Christianity. It seems that the Jesus story is real. That's all I can say. Which is a very uncomfortable truth to me personally, but yeah. God isn't even something I consider at this point. Maybe ascended masters, but I don't think whatever infinite creator force is in play is something that requires worship, but that's just my opinion. Yeah, I'm with you. That's why the whole thing with Christianity and Jesus is uncomfortable for me, because I am fully with you that that would be the thing that makes the most sense to me. And I guess the Buddhistic approach and truths would be the closest thing to what I believe should be true. But if I'm taking what I was shown seriously, then it seems to be incorrect. So I don't know what to do with that. But I truly don't know how to reconcile that. I'm definitely not preaching it, because I'm still kind of trying to absorb it in myself. So not Frondani, but you saying there is no magic, but the molecule effects is pure magic. No, there's no magic. Magic implies no reason at all. Something happens and then this other thing happens. That's how people think of magic. But nothing is magic ultimately, and cannot possibly be, because even if the chain of causation is made out of some kind of a random sequence of truths that go to the core of reality, well, then the logic of why these things happen whenever they happen, is whatever was the truth about the core operational uh, rules, fundamental rules that came from the core of reality. Whatever it is, it can be when when God scratches his nose, the color purple appears to his right, some random thing. Okay, but that's the logic of why this purple thing appears every time that happens. So there's some thing at the core of whatever is happening, even if we'll never know it, that will eliminate it from being magic. Magic is an incoherent idea in the sense that people imagine that just like whoop, just something happens. I guess the closest thing to magic you can say is the quantum foam, but even that would be, it has its own rationale, I guess. Like if I'm sober and you show me something you say is the code of reality several times, come back with a line of it regardless of how important or not anyone thought it was because of basic logic. Wait, I'm going to read this again because I don't know if I fully understand PPT tape. Uh, like if I'm sober and you show me something you say it's the code of reality several times, I'd come back with a line of it regardless of how important or not anyone thought it was because of basic logic. No, it's just that you, so I don't know what you mean by that, but logic never exits the picture no matter what. So if I, again, this is an example now that I've been giving a lot, so people here know it, but if you don't know English, and I'm going to show you the alphabet, the English alphabet, will you ever know English? No, you will never know English, because you know English not from looking at the letters, but by experiencing example of the usage of the language. So you experience syntax, you experience grammar, you experience how people say it in different ways, and because you have a very large sampling data, very large data you're sampling from, you eventually build a coherent picture as to how the language operates. Forget about the fact that you first already have some notion in the way that humans operate, which is the development of linguistic centers in the brain. So the centers in the brain responsible for interacting with meaning in forms of symbolic representation, so language. And the fact that you're even speaking a language is already based on some logic that you have in your brain. That never exits the picture. So now, when we're looking at whatever we're seeing in the laser, we don't know anything about it. We don't know if it's language. We don't know if it's coding. We don't know if it's coding, what it's coding for. We don't know what the rules of operation of it is. We don't know the syntax. We don't know the grammar. We don't know the basic rules. We don't know the first thing about it. So it's the equivalent of me just showing you the English alphabet, but I'm not just showing it to you static. I'm showing you a random array of infinite number of them, like millions of them all at once. They're tiny. They're constantly moving along different axes. You're trying to catch them. You're on this thing. You're like if you capture one of them here, one of them there, okay. No, so now what? Okay, so you wrote three of them. Now what? But they don't tell you anything. Language gives rise to meaning when there's a relationship that is weaved between the symbols. It's not the symbols that give the language its ability to communicate. The meaning arises in the relationship between the characters. Which character follows what other character, in what order, how frequent, batched into what we call words, right? So, and by the way, meaning arises in this way across the board. It's always arising from relationships. If you just have a general, here's a symbol, that symbol tells you nothing because the symbol is inert. It's the behavior of the symbol and what it's doing in the context of being there is what gives you the implication of what's going on. Could it be perturbations of space-time energy? Maybe. Yeah, that's very possible. Whoa, so many comments. Well, make sure the dogs are not going crazy. What's up, Sage? Which answer weren't you expecting? Same name? Oh yeah, with oh you talk about religion? Yeah, definitely. I did not expect it either. Clipnity saying is just crazy to accept. Bang Bang Jesus and all other odd concepts came from the single source, the simulation. Not sure that I'm fully following the comment, but I think yes. I'm not sure how Jesus plays into the code. I was just shown this in the hyperspace. Anyway, this reality is honestly kind of a Twilight Zone episode produced by a psychopathic clone from space. Not sure. I really like my life. I think this world is amazing. We have problems, but problems are inevitable. It's just the nature of reality. I think we live in a pretty incredible world. My bride is saying, Jesus, I use prayer like software you have to give in order to receive. Cheesy, I know, but that's how the software works. I like it. Makes sense. The website looks like it's been written by ChatGPT. Well, we are working on a new one, but at the moment, that's what we got. We are watching and talking to each other through smart electric rocks. Magic. Well, no. We know how these, well, somebody knows. Society, culture, the people who know to do it in companies, we know how that works. So, not magic. What is the basis of my thought? Christianity is the most accurate. The only thing I can say is that I was just shown this directly. What do you think about the saying that we as a collective are going to ascend to fifth dimension? This could be related to an update to our hologram structure. Uh, I am extremely skeptical of these claims. I think it's well, what's suspect about it is that people who believe in it, what the postulation is that they would really love that. They would really love to leave whatever this is. But if you follow some of the Buddhistic perspectives, if you're trying to escape whatever you already got, when you're going to ascend to whatever dimension, the problems you think they're going to disappear, just going to follow you there, because wherever you go, there you are. Problems arise not from external circumstances, but your relationship and your outline and how you perceive them. So if you perceive this as problematic, when you're going to go to the fifth dimension, you're going to have five-dimensional problems versus three-dimensional problems. I don't see the value in that belief system. If it happens, great. But if you aim there, you're going to be in trouble because it means you're not happy where you are, which is the only path to salvation. Any sufficient advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Yeah, but then if you understand how it works, then it's no longer magic. Um, So this is actually an interesting point to this thing of significantly enough advanced civilization, right? If I went back in time and showed the cavemen a lighter, they would think it was magic. True, but there's actually a really interesting thought experiment there. Let me write it again. Which is that where we are today in our understanding is already of a different kind of ability to perceive the world. So if you go 30,000 years ago, to 30,000 years ago, and you show a caveman a lighter or an iPhone or something like that, they will obviously think it's some kind of a, witchcraft or magic or something. But the claim is, and this is an interesting thought experiment, if I take you as you are today to the future, most people or somebody who's relatively technically savvy, if you take them to like even, I don't know, even 2 million years in the future, even though the advancement is going to be so much more great than this because it's exponential, you might not have the same problem, which is interesting. So the proposition is that there's a software in our brain that is in addition to the hardware. And softwares are ideas that have certain implications. And the idea back then, it wasn't just that they didn't know what electricity was and all the stuff that it takes to build an iPhone, let's say, but it's that even the idea that changing the world to something that it didn't appear to be, because you can understand what the world is actually doing on a very accurate level, that idea didn't exist. So you couldn't even explain, no matter how long the caveman would be there, the brain is already solidified into such a state that they would never be able to understand what you're trying to explain to them, because it's just not in the cards for them to understand the concept of progress and building things from, there's like a truth to the matter. That idea didn't exist. And the reason that it might be different for us is because we do have this idea. We have a software that is truly universal. So even though whatever you're going to see in a few million years from now is going to be, at first glance, going to be magic, and it's going to be crazy, it's going to be, oh my God, if somebody from that period is interested in helping you understand, you would be able to understand. You would be able to catch up, so to speak, because you would just understand, oh, it's just like some chains of causation that I do not understand at the moment, but eventually, given enough time, I will understand. So that would be the difference. And a legitimate question, maybe yes, maybe no. But the fact that there's certain ideas that are software themselves that allow us to do certain things at scale is, I find, a very, very neat idea. PP Tape is saying, if you show me that alphabet enough, I'd be able to, without any doubt, produce several of those symbols that were 100% matches, even though I don't know their meaning. That makes sense. Maybe, but so go ahead. I mean, I'm not challenging you like I'm not trying to challenge you in a mean way. I'm saying, please do that. Because I think that what the main miscommunication is from people not really fully seeing it first. The complexity of it is the impediment. But again, I'll be the first one to be happy about somebody managing to actually reproduce the characters. Any thoughts on Kabbalah? Definitely a lot of wisdom in there. Very interesting. What are 3 books, research papers that had a significant effect on you after reading? So one I already shared with you, The Beginning of Infinity by David Deutsch. The second one was Chaos by Max Gleich, I think, which is the book about chaos theory. And I would say, what other books? Really impactful. I mean, there's a lot of impactful books, but like on that level, I gotta think about that a little bit. A lot of books that I got a little disenchanted from. Like some books that a lot of people find deep meaning in it, I was a little disenchanted from. I'm like, really? That's where you find meaning in? And Thinking Fast and Slow. I mean, good book, but is it really that groundbreaking to know that our brains are not good at intuition of large of statistical analysis? And like, I mean, there's nothing. I don't know. There's nothing. Oh my god, about it for me. And people always quote this book as like, oh, it's crazy. I was like, really? Is it crazy? Like, obviously, of course, we're not good at that stuff. Like, why is it so weird? And then Blink, is it called? Also, like another book that people really love and quote and all that stuff. I'm like, it's okay. Um, what other book that really influenced me though? Wow, I'm trying to think. Huh? I got to think about it because there's a lot of books that are very interesting, but like books on a level where it like really moves something inside of you. Yeah, definitely Chaos by Max Gleich, The Beginning of Infinity. Maybe because when I was a kid, I was really into astrophysics. That was my main passion. So some Stephen Hawking books, uh, um, what's it called? Something something of time. Man, my memory is failing me right now. But yeah, short history, brief history of time, and briefer history of time. I think those were good books. I'm trying to remember. I'm sure there are other books that like really impacted me, but it was very rare where a book really grabbed me. That's why the reason I always recommend the beginning of Infinity, because the be, the business. How are you, brother? Good to see you, DJ. Is because somebody else who is a famous tech leader, I forget his name, Indian guy. He has a podcast, and he also kind of raves about the beginning of Infinity, like I do. And he said it best. He said this book literally uploaded a new software on my brain, new operating system. Like it says, this book literally uploaded a new operating system on my brain. Like it reformed how I think about the world. That's how impactful it is, and I agree. It absolutely does that. If you really pay attention to what it's saying about knowledge and about what humans are in the universe, which is a very beautiful idea that connects us to the rest of things. What's up, Jeremiah? Sorry, thank you so much for the likes. I appreciate you. So I'll think of another book that really impacted me in this way. I guess Carlos Castaneda's books, but I'll be honest, they did not move me on that level. I think I'm less moved by these esoteric things. I'm moved more by the beauty of knowledge and science. So it has to be in these domains. Let me see. There's a lot of comments. Hopefully, I'm not missing too many of them. Oh, thank you so much for the contribution. Sofa Goose, I appreciate you. What's my favorite vegetable? Wait, is tomatoes is one of these is a fruit, right? Tomatoes are fruits. I really like tomatoes. I don't know. I used to hate with passion, and I'm emphasizing this because there's no other food that I ever hated. Like it was just like, I don't mind that much. But I used to hate eggplants. And then there was a dish that I tasted of somebody who makes it really, really well with eggplant. And ever since then, eggplant became one of my favorite things, like a staple. So I guess maybe that one stands out. Context, see? Thank you for your support, Sofagus. I appreciate you. San Marzano is the only tomato. And Ebony just contributed 5 memberships. Ebony, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Whomever got the memberships, uh, thank you, Ebony. And if you guys are not members, come join our membership plan on YouTube. Dango Thoughts, Dango Thoughts. Come join our membership plan because it includes Zoom calls with me, private chat, private lives aside from the daily lives once a week for members only, and early access to all my content and private stuff in my life that will live only on YouTube Live. So come join that. We would love to see you there. And thank you so much for the competition. Competition should be a word, honestly. Contribution. So, Sofa Goose and Ebony, thank you so much. Jangle Thoughts. Nice. Whoa, Sofa Goose, thank you so much. Contributed 69.69. Good numbers. My favorite vegetable is Stephen Hawking. I mean, it's dark, but I mean, I'm sure he had a good sense of humor. So, did you guys see this meme when he? Did you guys see this meme when he passed away? People are really laughing on TikTok when he passed away, and there was this meme of him at the entrance of the kingdom of heaven, and there's an enormous staircase up, and he's on his wheelchair going, "Fuck." Appreciate you, Sofa Goose. Thank you for the contributions. And also, very funny comments. I'm going to read some of the comments back. Thank you for the gifts, Jose. I appreciate you, brother. I love that it was preempted with a question first. Bhagavad Gita, what about it, Jose? Yeah, Carlos is great. Very insightful books. Honestly, it's a good question. I don't know why I can't think of another. I would look through my library, but it's on my phone, so. Yeah. Oh, Homo Deus is a pretty good book. So Homo Sapiens was interesting, and I know most people love that one, but his second book, Homo Deus, was very interesting because he postulates a lot of things about the future, and I kind of like that. Whoa. we're definitely not woke over here. I mean, I don't care, but. Yep. Comfortable for sensations. Skinny saying, I'm ashamed of myself for laughing so hard. Somebody said Hawking was on Epstein's Island. I mean, listen, if you're in a wheelchair and you have arrived at Epstein's Island, so you were invited to the elites of the elites, you gotta go a little bit bravo, Also, he cheated on his wife with his nurse. So again, bravo. This is I don't know, he got away with it, but hey, I mean that's balling. That's gangster. Under Hawking was known to visit the strip clubs. Yeah, and what's his face? Our favorite boy, um, Richard Feynman. He used to work when he used to work on his theories in Pasadena. He used to go to this place that is not a strip club, but back then it was acceptable. It was just a regular restaurant where the waitresses were completely naked. So not just like top, but like completely naked. And there was a regular place, and he used to sit there all the time and work. And also he used to paint, so he used to paint them as well. So hey, inspiration comes from all kinds of places, and beautiful women are a great source of inspiration. There's no question about that. Dream job. Sushi restaurant here that goes that naked sushi. There you go. Boom. Digital bean flicker. It might have had different speeds. This conversation devolved, but hey, I'm here for it. I would have thought your favorite veg would be the fractal patterns. Broccoli. No, I'm not that big fan of broccoli. I don't I don't pick my food by shape. LP said I walked in an interesting time. Uh, what's the most subjectively bizarre concept theory that you are interested in? Interested in? You mean from everything on offer? At this point, none of the theories on offer are that weird to me, considering what I know. There's also a pitch black restaurant that employs the blind. Chefs, servers, all of them are blind. We went and it was a neat experience. Now combine that with the naked restaurant. So everybody in that dark restaurant are also naked. Now you're cooking. Literally. That's an interesting question. Phenom Production is saying if we were to reflect the laser from a mirror onto a white paper and look into the reflection, would the code be inverted? Objectness. Good question. But the paper also has a code. But that's a great question. I would want to test this. That is a great question. We should do this. Adding it to the list for sure. We went to this Chinese musical, Shenzhen or something. All the dancers are deaf. How do you know? Maybe they just tell you this. How did you end on the result, like the process of it? It's a long story, and that's why we're making a documentary about it. Getting comfortable with any unfolding of reality is a necessity to keep unfolding. Only by unfolding can one exclude possibilities. What do you mean by unfolding, though? They stated, but do they sound like that? I mean, obviously no, because they're Chinese. But this is a super non-woke chat today. Documentary closer to the end of the year. Bill Nye's the science guy. Jeremiah is saying, give the men some credit. Did a lot for not being able to move. I mean, seriously. Uh, seriously. All the respect. It is a great idea. I love it. Okay, going back to some of the previous comments. Now that we have our share of non-PC things that we said. Going back to these comments. Oh, there's quite a bit before, I think. How are you, Kyla? Still thinking about that book, Maverick Star. Also, I can't wait to see your summation of the beginning of Infinity on the chat. That's amazing. Just don't pick up Nietzsche at 21. Actually, maybe not the top, but Thus Spoke Zarathustra definitely is up there in terms of like, whoa, like just the caliber of mind. That kind of crazy. I mean, I don't think he was the best example of a person. Kind of a grump. But when you read Thus Spoke Zarathustra, you're like, whoa, whoa. Are the symbols inert, or might they be more than symbols and carry energy, frequency, just a thought? It also makes me think of how some people see numbers as third shapes. From yes, but again, it's a lot of maybes. I'm interested in the things we can test. I think that's the gap between the communication. The feed from the wastewater. Uh, Justin is saying Jesus was a real person, an enlightened person who allowed humanity to gain empathy. He is the Son of God in the same way we are all children of God and have the possibility to live Christ. Yes, again, fully with you. It's just that I was shown that that is incorrect. That Christ is a special, has a special standing, is more than just a person, and no, not in the same way that we all are. Again, it is not a thing that I ever carried on my hard drive, but I was shown this very clearly. So I don't know what to do with that, but I have to report honestly. Vibrational state of the self acts as a layered decipher that decodes energy into more detailed resolution. I would agree with that. If we were to reflect the laser on a wall, oh, we read that. Second take on the question, if you were to reflect the laser from a mirror onto a white paper and look into the reflection, would the code be inverted? If you're talking about the reflection itself from the mirror, you will simply lose your eye. That's it. Because it's a laser. And under psychedelics, people see those stuff already, and it seemed like you're monetizing on an already naturally occurring phenomena that happens when you're taking a magic trip in the laser. Any difference? Huge difference. If you ever tried yourself, you will see. And no, nobody saw it before the laser. Well, no one is a stretch, but the specificity of what you see in the laser makes it very different than any other code that people report to see. I do see the other codes as well. Very different. Anybody who observes it from themselves understands immediately. And if you just watch the Chase Hughes clip, it says a lot because he's a scientist in the end of the day. When he saw it, he was flabbergasted because it is different, fundamentally different than anything anybody has ever seen. This is why it's a big deal. This is why so many people are talking about it. James Glick. Glick? Yeah. How do you pronounce it? What did I say? Glyk? Glick? I don't know. What's up, Under Sound Beats? Oh my god, they're going crazy. Okay, I might need to go take the dogs because they're going insane. Yeah, I have a constructive one finally. How the fuck? Fingerprints, this Tony, and all different. And who in the world could do our mic? What? Yeah, I would say butchered. Oh, that was great. I'm just having a stroke. Hope not really. Yes, try multiple lasers, obviously. Okay, so Ian, how can you do it? You can go to codeofreality.com and our protocol is there, codeofreality.com. Okay, so my dogs are going insane. I gotta go take them out. So I'll call it out for tonight. Thank you so much, guys. Love you. Thank you so much for the contributions, Ebony and Sofa Goose, and thank you for the team, to Chris, to Ebony, to Carter, to Irv, to Bradley, to Jessica. Who am I forgetting? Chris. Love you guys. DJ, Nico. Thank you guys. Love you all. Thank you so much for the community. If you want to follow me across platforms, it will be Danny Goller on TikTok and Instagram. It will be Goller Danny on X, LaserX83 on Twitch, and Dango Thoughts on YouTube. Come join our members program on YouTube, Dango Thoughts. Come join our Discord that you can find on the YouTube channel on Dango Thoughts. Third link from the top in my main page of YouTube. Yeah, come join the members program. We do weekly lives aside from the daily lives for members only. We do Zoom calls with me. We do early access to my content and private stuff for my life that exists only on YouTube members. Love you all, guys. Gonna go take the doggies. Peace and love. See you tomorrow. Ciao. Have a good night, guys.